Hey, hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we are doing another Maschine Mark III tutorial for beginners. And this is some of the things you should do or will help you when you set up your very first project. So I'm going to go through various things in here: pin mode, choke groups, colors, quantizing, metronome, tempo, swing, volume, note, repeat. We're going to load in some sounds and stuff like this. So this should be helpful because there are certain things. There's one thing you should definitely do when you very first switch it on and you've got it all set up, is you should set these to be locked on when you press them. So for instance, when you first get it, the default is you press pattern, and as soon as you let go, it disappears, right? So this can be quite annoying, or the same with scene, it can be quite annoying. What you really want to be doing is the ones that you need on all the time when you press the button. Like for me, for instance, scene, pattern, and events are the ones that I like to have on all the time. And these are the mode switches, and we're going to pin the mode switches so they're on all the time. And it's very simple to do. You hold down the mode button you want, in this instance scene, and you'll see it says scene there, and above it is a button, and you just tap that button, and now scene is locked on until you tap it again. But it doesn't affect anything else. So I'm going to do the same for pattern. I'm going to go pattern. I'm going to lock that pattern. I'm going to pin it, and I'm going to go to events, and I'm going to do the same thing. So now I can swap between my scenes, my patterns, and my events mode, which I like to have on whilst I'm recording, very easily. And then if I tap it again, it'll go away. Now you'll also see here pad mode. Now I'll show you pad mode in a sec. So we're going to load in a kit first. Okay, so we're going to go to browser. We're going to make sure that we're on groups, so you can scroll between projects, groups, sounds, one shots, as my computer catches up with itself. But we're going to stick with instruments, we're going to stick sounds, we're going to stick with groups. I'm going to go and find, because you will definitely have this on yours, I'm going to go with the Maschine library. And in the Maschine library, you can choose, where it says all banks, you can choose the earlier banks, or the 2.5 library banks, or just all banks. We'll leave it on all banks, and that will give you a total of 955 different kits. Also, if we hold shift, you will see I have pre here highlighted. This means that we can audition those kits. So we need to find a kit that we like. That one's fine. And if you want to stop it, you just hit shift and mute. Otherwise it'll carry on playing, and it doesn't carry on playing actually. It stops after a couple of seconds, but once you've got the idea of it, you know, you probably want to stop it. See, it'll run for a bit, probably 16 bars or something. However, like I said, if you want to, oh right, that's nice, I don't want to hear it anymore, shift and mute, and it'll kill the sound. Now, if you do not have pre-hear on, you won't hear anything as it's scrolling through. And this can be quite strange because you think, oh, I've heard them do it on YouTube and you can hear the actual kit. Well, you just need to hit shift again and then make sure that pre-hear is on. Another thing as well, if you want, right, so for instance, this particular kit, if you like that pattern and you want to use it as a starting point, you press shift, and where it says plus patterns, you highlight this, and when you hit load, it will load in the patterns associated with that, and there may be 3 or 4 different scenes of patterns. However, I don't want to do that. I want to start from scratch, so we're going to switch that off. Okay, we're going to keep with this kit, and we're just going to hit load, and it loads that kit in on pad mode. See, so now we have There's some sample slices there. Now we have this kit loaded onto our pads, and this is group A. Okay, so let's now show you some of the cool stuff you can do now. For instance, let's look at choke groups, right? That's not so visible, it's not so noticeable with that kit. So I'm going to go to this 808 kit, say, and I'm going to load that instead. See? These two, you want them to be cutting themselves off. It's difficult, actually. We need to find a kit to start with that has obvious. Here we go. This is a perfect example. They're not cutting each other off. And what we want is in a natural environment. When I hit this open hi-hat, you want it to stop as soon as I hit the closed hi-hat, because your foot would be closing down on the pedal. What we're in pad mode. Press pad mode again, and it takes you into the display for pad mode. This is where you can see all the sounds. You can take them up and down. Now you'll see here it says choke group none. So what we need to do is select this pad here. We can just touch it, select one, okay? Tap this pad here where it'll say none, touch it and select one. And now we have those two are now associated with choke group 1. Okay, now on a kit we chose initially, we didn't have that. So let's go back and choose that kit again because it's better than that one. So let's just load. So this, you don't really need it, but just for clarification, let's do it again. So pad mode, and it's remembered it anyway, so that's cool. Here's other things we can do now. Let's look at things like colors. You may want to customize your, let me have a swig of my coffee, hang on. You might like to customize your colors. Okay, so you're in pad mode and you've got choke groups and but if we scroll along now here, and you can always see if it's one of two, here we can set the colors. So we can change the color, the entire color for the entire group, say to red, or let's make it something more noticeable, like say that or that's, or cyan or plum. But say we want to be kind of like, say we want to change the colors for our hats. Okay, so the next switch along here is sound. So select the sound you want, and let's go, oh, I'll have these in red. And I'll have that in red as well because they're hi-hats. But say it was, oh, that's like a synth sound, or a kick and snare, let's have in a different color. So let's have them in orange. No, let's have them something completely different. Let's have them in yellow. And there you go. So now you've customized the color of the group, and you've gone further and customized the actual different instruments in that group. Okay. Now you've got your kind of first kit set up the way you want it, and it looks like the way you want it to look. Let's go into our plugin browser here. This is where you can see individual instruments every time you hit a pad, but make sure you're in sounds. You have group, master, where you might add limiters, etc. Group, where you may add sort of like an overall effect to just one particular group, and then sound, where you can add sounds. However, we want to make a pattern. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a quick pattern. So we're going to go to pattern, and it will have created a pattern for us, okay, obviously. And if you go to scene, it will also have created a scene for us. So it does this automatically because you've you've started a project, a new project. Now, you need to rename your project in the software, because don't forget that the Mark III is a MIDI controller for the software, but you very rarely need to touch the software except for things like naming and stuff like that. Anyway, let's go to our pattern mode again, and we've got a pattern, but you see it says auto there. Now this means this will, if I start to press record now, it will just record. It will record indefinitely for about 256 bars, which is a long time. I'm going to go with auto, and I'm going to turn it like this and set it to 4 bars. Okay, and you can see here it's set to 4 bars because I've got my pattern mode linked on. Okay. So set to 4 bars. Let's go to events now, and this is where I'll be able to see what I'm recording in, and it will record in the different colors as well. So you can, you can track it with colors, which is really, really cool. And it keeps it visually nice. Looks great, but it's also a visual reference for what's going on. Let's get down to this now. Shift and tap will switch the metronome on. Okay, shift and tap will turn it off. If you want further access, go into settings, and in general you will see the very first thing is metronome, and it's off. If we turn it on, you'll see it switches it on down here as well. If we turn it off, it'll turn it off there. I like to start with this off. You have the level of the metronome, so the volume, so you can turn it up or down. You can have how long it counts in for, either 1 bar, 2 bar, or 4 bars. And then your time signature, like in this one, it's 4 4s. And there's 3 pages of info here. Quantize mode, you can have it on or off. I prefer to have it off and do it myself. I'll show you again in a sec. Then you have various other options that you can do. So it's things about colors and stuff. Let's go back to this, and let's go back to our events. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold shift, turn this on. This is going to give us a 1 bar counting, okay, when we press record. So let's press record and record. We're going to record our 4 bars of our basic beat. So let's see. I'm going to say, oh, no. Now, actually my timing wasn't too bad, so I'm going to hit shift, and you can either choose to quantize by 50% or quantize 100%. But I'm going to hold shift and quantize 100%, and you may have noticed that some of those moved on the actual MIDI, so my timing wasn't perfect by a long shot, so now it will be when I press restart. Now if you press play, what happens is anywhere that this timeline is, it will just play from. If you press restart, it will play from the beginning. If you press shift and tap tempo, it'll turn the metronome off. So if we hit shift and record, it's going to give us a 4 bar counting. Okay, so arm and record and press and play will literally just start the record process off again from where it is. Holding shift and record will give us a 4 bar counting, and now we can just carry on adding our hi-hats in. Terrible timing, so let's fix that. Shift, quantize, and now we're spot on. Kind of. Okay, so this is all very well and good, but say for instance you would rather have it all recorded in quantized for you. Well, like I said, you can go in and set quantized to be on all the time if you want to, or you can do the other cool thing. So let's record this, but let's record 16s, but let's use our note repeat. So this is dead handy, right? So it means you don't need to be worrying about stuff. Just switch it on, and when you press it, it'll repeat that note for you, and you can control the rhythm and the speed here. So you can get super trappy if you want to. And to record this, it's super easy. Make sure it's on, and you'll see it says ARP underneath. It's also an arpeggiator when you hold shift, and it's for another video. So let's record 16ths on that. So let's just give it a quick test. Let's go press play, restart loop. And what's cool, it will remember the touches as well. So and it will remember them for each instrument. So when you're ready to jump in and have a go, you can either stop it, shift record and get a count in, just press play and then press record and then jump in whenever you like. So let's keep it straightforward. Let's go shift record. Stop record. You can hit quantize if you like, but you're already quantized anyway. But I find that hitting quantize is a good habit to get into, so it keeps it thingy. You know, you keep doing it all the time, so it's fine. Right, okay, so guys, I've showed you the colors. This is for this first one. In this next video, in this part, we'll add more groups. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So we'll keep this pattern. I'll save this pattern now. So go to File, just hit Save, and I'll hit Save. And yes, okay, it's fine. I'll save it now, so we can come back to this and mess around further with it. So. Yeah, brilliant. I want to go into like keyboard mode. We've covered pad mode pretty much, but we can go further. Anyway, guys, I really genuinely hope you found this useful. The idea with Maschine is it can be as complicated or as simple as you like. I would suggest when you're first starting out, like with something like this, is set it up so it works nicely. Other tips, right, is the tempo. If you hit tempo, you can use this control here. You'll see it change here to set the overall tempo of the actual mix. Tapping this will do the overall swing, so you can swing it up as much as you like. Tapping this volume will control the overall volume. We'll get into the mixer in another video, but I have done other tutorials that you can look at as well. Anyway, I have also done a tutorial that lets you set this up from when you very first buy it and plug it in. Okay, so I'll put a link into that as well. So it'll appear somewhere at the top of the video. Guys, brilliant. I will see you later. Ta-ra. If you like the video, by the way, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, etc. But yeah, super duper. Setting up your first project. Awesome. See you later, guys. Ta-ra.